Got the beater in here today. I was cleaning up yesterday and I found this catch can that I bought forever ago. It's just like an eBay knockoff type one. I believe these are the brackets for it because it has a very poorly formed curve in the aluminum. But I decided it's been laying around forever. I just keep moving it around to different places. I figure I might as well mount it up in the non-turbo because, as you can see, it still pushes a good amount of oil back into the intake. Originally, I was thinking about looping the two valve covers, teeing them together, going into one port, and the other port being the PCV. But I decided against that because I think that having the two valve covers teed together is kind of a bad idea. It could push all the oil into that other valve cover instead of into the catch can because it would probably flow easier into the other valve cover, I would think, the way the T would be set up. But either way, we might switch it up later on. But the plan is to stuff this down in this little hole right here. And there's actually a 10 millimeter bolt right there that the brackets should mount up to. It's gonna be pretty simple. We're just gonna pull this hose off of the valve cover here and then put a cap on it on the intake. Same thing over here, cap right there. And then this one, we're gonna have to pull the windshield wiper, the wiper reservoir out, and the hose is right down in there, right there. So I already have some vacuum hose. These are 3/8 fittings. I believe those are 1/2 inch. They might be 3/8, but I have silicone hose that's very stretchy, so it should work regardless. Besides that, you really don't need anything. I believe this came with bolts for the tabs before, but I don't know where they're at anymore. So just need 2 bolts to bolt those two together. And I don't know how they expected to clamp that bracket to this, but my plan is honestly to just use like a hose clamp. I know it's not going to be the prettiest, but this thing will be stuffed down in there where I really won't care and nobody's going to see it. So we'll see. Alright, we got our little mount set up. It's everything's loose so we can adjust it and spin it if we need to. Now we're going to take that 10 mil out and try to squeeze this in there and get the 10 mil back in through one of those holes there.
I'm gonna pull this out and tighten the hose clamp on all of those bolts because it's gonna be a pain to do that later. But I think right there should work. Just like that. Probably. I'm really actually about that and do anything, but I'm lazy.
Alright. Let's tighten this hose clamp and all these fittings, and then we will be good to go. Let's see how that looks. I think I'm gonna loosen this hose clamp and slide the whole canister up, because now that I'm thinking about it, I want it to be elevated as much as possible. So we're gonna leave this how it is, but then slide the thing up as far as possible. Alright, I think that's pretty good for the most part. So we just gotta grab the 8mm and loosen that clamp and then pull this up as much as we can. Now I'm really wishing I had put this clamp on in a different direction, because it is hard to get to. Alright, that's about as high as it's gonna go. Looks pretty good. It's like the same height as, it's actually taller than the fittings were on the intake. So I'm happy with that. Let's tighten this clamp back up, and then we'll run these lines where they need to go.
Should see if I can rotate this. Nope. We'll deal with that another time.
Alright guys, we got that situated. Next step is pull this hose off on this side. We'll do the easy one first. These pliers I got from Harbor Freight, they're for pulling hoses off. They make so much easier to do, and it helps a lot with not ripping the hose. If the hose is brittle, it's probably going to crack or rip either way, but it definitely helps. This end is nice and greasy, so I know that won't be a problem. And it looks like it was 1/2-inch hose, but like I said, the silicone line I have will slip over that no problem. So let's grab that and run it over here. Alright, here it is. I got this off of Amazon. It's good stuff. It's gonna be a little hard to get on here, but it'll stretch. I hope it will. There you go. Alright, now, see how long we need this to be. So we'll probably just run it something like that. Just run it up, zip tie it off to this power steering hose, and then loop it up to here. So we'll cut it right there. The other thing about this silicone is it's very flexible. You can do nice sharp bends without it kinking. Like, it's about to kink how I have it right here. That's about the max, but it's still pretty impressive how much it allows you to bend it before it kinks. I'm gonna run it on the other side of this cruise control cable actually. Alright, perfect. And then this next one, like I said, we gotta pull the windshield reservoir out, wiper reservoir out, but we'll just run it back behind the intake box here and bring it right to this hose. This one I'll probably put a nice zip tie on down there. We'll just leave them because it's such a tight stretch fit, nothing's gonna happen there. And also, the way I have it mounted now, I can actually reach in here and undo the drain and just see how much is in there. And I can view the sight glass, I guess they would call it. It's a super cheap catch can, but it is what it is. And I think the correct way to vent the crankcase would be to run a separate catch can for strictly the crankcase. Alright guys, we're gonna pull the wiper reservoir out. I'm not even gonna disconnect anything, we're just gonna pull it up out of the way and rip this hose off. Alright. You can see it down in there with the spring clamp. I can't really fit in there with the stand. There it is with the spring clamp. And then there it is right there. I have to cut it to get it out from behind the fuel rail shield, but whatever. And then we'll just run it, like I said, behind the box or under the box, one or the other. Got it. Clamp even stayed on there. Alright, let's route this thing and see what we can do. I might try to run it back through there. I don't know. Let's see. Nah. So there you have it. Up there, across and under, and then we just gotta trim it to size, and we'll be good to go. Probably zip tie it here, and that's probably it, honestly. Silicone's pretty thick, but I guess we can zip tie it back to there so it's just not rubbing on the metal. And then 2 caps right there, and we are done. All right, let's trim this. Put some zip ties on. And then we got some caps. I don't know if this is the right size. No, way too big. So we're gonna have to use the oddly colored ones. Use a pink one. Use 2 pink ones on the beater. Put zip ties on those too, just to be safe, because they were well oiled up. I love the pink. I'm actually gonna paint these real quick, just because that kind of bothers me. Actually, we'll leave it. We'll leave it as is. Alright, well there you have it. That is how you install a catch can on the 2.5 non-turbo Subaru. It's pretty much self-explanatory for any other car. You find your valve cover breather ports, you take the hose off, you cap the one end, and you run a hose to the thing, and you find a way to mount it. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to tighten up these 2 clamps with some pliers, and then cut the ends off of here. And I think that's about it. Zip tie this back over to there, zip tie that to there, and we're good. Alright guys, let me know if you appreciate the video, if you learned anything, if you got any suggestions. Subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. Let's see how much oil this thing's really pushing through the valve cover breathers. Alright guys, after a few days of running it, the way I originally set it up with 1 valve cover going to each port, my dipstick tube blew up. Not blew up, but it came up out of the O-ring. It was sitting like that, and I noticed there's oil residue all on this side of the engine bay in that area. Kind of dried up and, you know, well, not dried up, but kind of smoked off by now, but it was more obvious a couple days ago. So what I ended up doing was what I originally said. I teed the two valve covers together. So this is the passenger side, and then this is the driver's side that we ran across. And then this port, I just made a vent, and it just goes straight down and just vents to atmosphere. And it actually doesn't seem to be leaving any residue out of there. I think it's just literally letting the vapors out, and then all of the oil collects in here. Haven't drained it yet, but it looks like from the sight tube it doesn't really look like much is in there, so we'll leave it. We'll probably let it go for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll take a video and see how much comes out of the bottom of it. But I just want to let you guys know, I wouldn't suggest running one valve cover to each port without having any kind of a vent in the actual breather, because it was putting too much stress on the, even though the crankcase is still venting, it was just putting too much stress on it, and it popped my dipstick tube out, like I said. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that. Alright, thanks for watching.